Good evening, Texas bikers and bikers all across the nation. This is Texas Biker Radio number 279. And tonight the message is to the citizens of McLennan County. But, Mel, before we get into it, I want to thank Jasmine Caldwell of Channel 6 of actually having the fortitude to come to a COCI meeting and see what it was all about. And they did a little piece on us tonight. Of course, we know new TV news stations allow them about, 30 seconds?
If that.
But, yeah. So, we wondered what their producers would do, but, it was all right. It was good. It was all good. We know that she saw more than what was said in that piece there, and we certainly had a lot to say. And in the coming days and weeks, we'll be talking about that COCI meeting, and the fact, Mel, that the COCI meetings are not what has been described by law enforcement and other groups out there. You want to expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, we also invited the Waco Tribune to come. They didn't show, but ever since Swanton came out with all of his little comments right after Twin Peaks, when he had his few minutes of fame and maligned everyone at Twin Peaks and bikers in general, the news media has picked up on the fact that they've kept reporting that bikers in general running gangs, and the prosecution in Waco was making a pretty big deal out of COC meetings and who goes to them and what goes on there. And we finally said, hey, if you want to be reporting on this, why don't you come to a COC meeting and see exactly what is going on? Because all you're going to hear is bike legislation that's going on in the state of Texas and various areas of the country, the rights that we have, the profiling that's going on. And you're going to see a lot of independent bikers and a lot of clubs getting together under the same roof in harmony and talking about these issues and being informed. And fortunately, Jasmine came and she saw. And like you say, Mel, she heard a lot more than what she was able to report on, and I wouldn't be so sure that it doesn't come out in drips and drabs in the future when opportunity arises, because now we have a television media person that is pretty well informed. I mean, she got to the meeting well before it started. Mm-hmm. She was there for the whole thing. She did a tremendous amount of interviewing after, took lots of pictures, lots of video, and that is one informed gal. And I would be surprised if she was not really a little bit in awe as to what she saw and what she heard.
That's exactly true, Mel. And you know what? We didn't let anybody really know she was coming. There was only about 3 of us that knew. And because we wanted her to see it as it is and as it happens. And, we didn't want anything scripted. We didn't want anybody, like I'm saying, Mel, we're not Boy Scouts, but we didn't. We wanted her to see that, it's not the behavior you expect out of 90 motorcycle clubs together. It's just, we wanted her to see it as is, and that's exactly what happened.
Well, I don't know if you were there or not, but there was a new waitress. We met at Scooters in Garland, and there had to be 200-300 bikers in there. That's a big place.
Yeah.
And there was a new waitress that she kind of was hanging with us and talking and seeing what kind of patches she might be able to get from like from the COC from some of the different clubs, and she made a statement that kind of tickled me, but it brought home what you always hear, and her comment was that I've always heard that you were a bunch of bad guys, but she said everyone I've seen here and talked to is really a nice guy. So you've got the community at large out there that is still has the image of the evil biker, the biker thug or whatever, but yet when people interact with a bunch of bikers, they see a totally different type of individual than what they anticipated seeing from what they have heard, and that brings home to us just how important it is for we as bikers to get out there, rub elbows with the community, let them see us, let them hear us. Let's be talking to them, and let's continue to be doing good for the community like we have been. And, more and more people are going to see that those legends and fables just aren't true.
That's right, Mel. It is 2017. It's not 1970, 80, or 90 anymore. It's just not. And things change, whether you want them to or not.
Well, even the fabled riot in California was a put-up scam. It was never really even a riot.
That's
right. It was just a rally where a few guys got drunk, but there wasn't enough action, so the media had to stage a bunch of drunks by piling up a bunch of beer bottles in front of a motorcycle and parking a drunk on a motorcycle, and incidentally, that wasn't even his motorcycle.
Nope.
But to sell magazines and make news, they had to create this, and they've been doing it since day one. And the only thing. Well, let me finish with saying, bikers by and large are independent individuals that don't like people telling them what to do. They enjoy freedom, and that's what sets us apart. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That's all right, Mel. I was just going to interject that, hey, those weren't even his beer bottles. They even had to gather that stuff up. And that was Life magazine,
That
wasn't
was stuff in the street. That's right.
It's Life magazine that did that mess. And so that was the early stages of the 1% patch, huh?
That's what predicated the 1% patch, was a statement that was made by the American Motorcycle Association after all the news came out about the supposed riot and the whole bit. The AMA was pissed anyway because it wasn't one of their sanctioned deals. And their reference, when they said that 99% of the motorcycle community were law-abiding citizens, what they were referring to as outlaws were these rallies that were taking place that weren't sanctioned by the AMA, and they considered them outlaws. That's where it all started.
There you go, Mel. Just a little bit of history, huh?
Yeah, that's right.
And Mel, let's say something to the citizens of Waco and McLennan County this morning or this evening. I want to apologize to them because of a judge, a visiting judge, quashed the testimony of the DA's staff. And the reason I say that is because there was important information that was going to be in that testimony. I mean, the citizens of Waco, the citizens of McLennan County need to know whether their district attorney is a crook. They need to know who he really is and what goes on in that DA's office. And, there's a tape out there. We found out today, and legendary Jim Parks is going to be on here talking about it in about 15 minutes. But there is a tape out there where MbLennan was asking the Texas Attorney General, Ken Paxton, to withhold evidence from the bikers that are on trial, from their attorneys. Now, Mel, the DAs are famous for using these CIs to keep evidence out of the defense's hands.
Yeah,
and I would think
trick.
It's an old trick, older than the hills. That CIs and confidential UCs, undercovers.
Yep.
I mean, let's get this acronym straight for them. A CI is a confidential informant, and Mel, they could be anything, right? Would you like to explain a confidential informant?
They are typically what law enforcement likes to portray a lot of times is that a confidential informant is a concerned citizen that came forth to deliver information because they were concerned about laws being broken. And that's the image they like to paint. However, a confidential informant, 99.99% of the time, is some poor sucker that got caught with an ounce of marijuana in his pocket, or was caught selling narcotics, or was caught committing some other type of crime that the ATF or the local police like to turn into an informant, and they motivate this person by saying, look, we'll either greatly reduce your charge or you can go free if you do this, this, and this. So they are highly motivated to produce information, whether it be accurate or not. If they can make something happen to get themselves out of trouble, they'll do it. And that's what a confidential informant typically is.
Exactly, Mel. Now let's explain to them what an undercover is, a UC. Go ahead.
A UC most often is a law enforcement agent. They are law enforcement that go undercover. They assume an assumed identity, and they work cases. They get close to individuals that they believe are committing crimes, and they work within that structure. Now, by the strict rules, they are never supposed to really commit a crime or allow a felony to take place in their presence. That all went out the window years ago, and the problem is a lot of these undercover guys and gals go deep undercover. They stay under there for a long time, and law enforcement has one hell of a problem on their hands because a lot of times they can't reel these people back in. They live a certain lifestyle that they begin to like, and they're play acting, and for whatever reason a switch gets flipped in them and they never come back to reality. Now couple that with the other half of the problem, which is their handler, who is the person supervising them that they're supposed to report to, is continually exerting pressure that shit has to happen. They have to be able to report things to keep the budget going, the money coming in to keep the task force in place. If they have nothing to report or they can't make something happen, be it gun running, buying, selling guns, buying, selling dope, prostitution, whatever, fights, killings, if they can't make this happen or report on those things happening, they got to do something to stir the pot to get the beehive going.
There you go.
So they are under motivational forces that are up to no good.
Exactly, Mel. And let us point out that in current testimony by the police chief in Waco, his name is Ryan Holt, he testified that most of the information they get is through confidential informants and others is third-hand information. He said that he takes that and they take that with a grain of salt.
Yeah, because most of those confidential informants are junkies. Who the hell can believe a junkie?
Exactly, Mel. And we were pointing that out to the citizens, and we're pointing out that that Abel Reyna uses that to withhold evidence from those attorneys who are trying to defend their clients to the best of their ability. And, the Constitution gives that to them. And, man, let me point out one other thing. In that testimony was going to be the fact that Abel Reyna is still under investigation by the FBI for showing favors to donors and people that are politically connected. We've heard the story about the cocaine. Somebody was caught with some cocaine. Jim Parks can explain this better. But, the DA's office took possession of the cocaine and it disappeared.
Went into the great black hole.
Oh, yeah. So, there's some terribly, terribly wrong things wrong with the DA's office, not only in Waco, but across the nation. And, all people have to do is look at the evening news and what's going on. And you understand that our law enforcement agencies are in a crisis throughout. And it's because of mess like this. And the fact that they're willing to do anything to send anybody to jail, and including the innocent. Man, we know there are bikers that were arrested at Twin Peaks that had nothing to do with the fight in the parking lot. They had nothing to do. They had no weapons in their hands. But yet that doesn't matter. Not to an aggressive DA like Abel Reyna. As a matter of fact,
the Waco Police Department wanted to let everyone go that was in the restaurant. They considered them witnesses, and Abel Reyna overrode the Waco Police Department and demanded that they all be arrested.
Yep. And Mel, we reported yesterday that Abel Reyna was heard there at Twin Peaks, saying this was going to launch him to the Attorney General's office.
Well, actually, you called it. Right after Jake's acquittal, you said this ain't over, Abel Reyna is going to come out swinging. And
Yep.
you know what? It became readily apparent from day one when Jake's trial started. The primary target in that first case was not Jake, it was the Bandito Motorcycle Club.
That's right.
And the
And
prosecution was doing its damnedest to convict the Bandito Nation of being a gang.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe they believe if they can do this, then Jake will fall and everyone else will fall after that. And Abel Reyna has it in his head that it is critical to him that he win this first case. So critical that they have now created a in-your-face, and I repeat, in your face, everyone's face, above and beyond the citizens of Waco. As you watch this thing unfold, you now have every snake in the state of Texas crawling out from under their rock to form a line with Abel Reyna, that being the political network and the law enforcement network. They're forming their, what we often refer to as their thin blue line. I don't know what the hell color you'd call this one, but they're forming their line to perpetrate one of the greatest misjustices I think any of us have ever witnessed. They have pushed trials aside now. They've suppressed testimony that would involve the prosecutor in some heinous activity. They
Yep.
don't want that brought to light. Abel Reyna is doing everything in his power to get Jake retried again before anyone else is tried, because he wants another bite of that apple, and he is desperate. And you can bet that whatever judge is going to try this, and you know what? It could well be the same judge again.
Yes.
And we can watch the rules change,
Yep.
testimony that won't be allowed. They will continue to be in your face. And you know, citizens of Waco, McLennan County, and of Texas, we all need to raise hell, to start screaming to the high heavens, call the state capitol, call anyone and everyone we can that is in any political position in this state that can demand a grand jury and or special prosecutor be brought in to investigate this whole hairy mess,
Mm-hmm.
and start putting the right people in jail.
That's exactly right,
This is,
man.
I have never seen anything so in your face, good old boy network, as I've seen emanating from Waco subsequent to that acquittal.
Mm-hmm.
It
And,
has gone from bad to pathetic.
Let me tell you this, Mel. Even in a second trial, there's no way that Abel could win without help from the judges. And you hit it
Absolutely.
you hit the nail on the head. There's no way he can win.
I don't know
without
if they're
help
calling
from the
in
judges.
favors or they're blackmailing. But something's going on here, and it's not right.
Right. And I will say this about Judge Shaver, who quashed that testimony today. You know, I don't know if it's about confidential informants or whatever else, you know. I mean, I don't know. And I'm sick of confidential informers, Mel, because, you know, when you're on trial, when you're fighting for your life and your livelihood, you know, you are allowed, that pesky Constitution says you are allowed to face your accusers. And I'm sick and tired of hearing about people hiding behind. That's right. I'm sick and tired of hearing about people that they're confidential informants, undercovers, whatever. Go get another damn job if you're going to take that job. You know, do something else. Move. I mean, I'm tired of it. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of seeing laws for them and laws for us, Mel. Sick and tired of it. And as we see it all across the country, the rich and the well-connected get off again and again and again, while the average Joe out here, the average schmuck, gets it stuck to him by some crooked DA, and there's no telling how many innocent people he's put in jail. No telling. We want the people of McLennan County, if that's happened to you, step up and tell us. Give us your story. Give us your story. But, Mel, we'll be talking about this more and more. And we invite the people of McLennan County to come visit us at texasbikerradio.org. That's our website. And we have messages there for you. And the messages are the truth. I'm not going to say most. That's what I almost said. But we give you the truth as we know it, as best as we can, as best as we can dig it out of that county down there that has the wagons circled around the damn DA. And there's enough evidence out there to show you that he should no longer be your district attorney.
As a matter of fact, he probably belongs in jail.
That's exactly right. So, I mean, I would hate to think that the Texas Attorney General, Ken Paxton, actually did what he requested. And that's that MbLennan requested that he not give evidence, turn evidence over to the defendants or the defendants' lawyers. I would hope that Ken Paxton is not that low. But I digress. I know him. And we may have to take a trip down to Austin, Mel, and see if we can get an audience.
Yeah, it would be good.
That would be fun. Visit a few friends while we're down there.
It's been a while. We need to do that.
Right. So, now that this testimony has been quashed, the voters are in the dark there. They have to make up their mind whether this is, if MbLennan deserves another term. Because let me tell you, Mel, if he gets another mistrial, oh boy. Oh boy.